and welcome to my garden. My name is Clio and I work for Women's Environmental Network. Today, well, it's raining, it's cloudy, and I thought it would be the best day to talk about slugs and snails. Slugs and snails are maybe one of the most common problems for gardeners. They are gastropods, or soft-bodied animals that live in our gardens and feed on leaves, flowers, tubers and bulbs. They can create big damage on seedlings and young plants with soft leaves. Usually slugs and snails are more active at night and in a warm, humid periods. So how can we stop or at least limit slug damage in the most natural way? As I'm not keen to use pesticide in my garden, I'm trying to grow organic vegetables and I got a dog and other animals that are living in my garden, so I have chosen to use non-chemical control against slugs and other pests. Now, my first personal role seems silly to mention, but is to keep your garden tidy and clean. Slugs love to hide under smooth surface that can retain humidity, as plastic sheets, pots, container. So if I'm not using these kind of things in my garden, I prefer to store them somewhere else and keep the space where I grow my vegetables as rubbish-free as possible. On the other hand, I know some people that use upside-down saucer on purpose to catch snails, as they will find a shed under those and they will be easier to collect. Another suggestion is to search for slugs and snails during the evening when they are more active. You can organize a proper hunting session with some torch and gloves for hand picking and bringing them well away from your garden. You can also make some beer trap. Slugs love beer, melon skin and sweet fruits, so you can place container filled with beer nearby vulnerable plants and wait for them to be attracted into it. The animals will drown inside the container, so every now and then you have to check and empty the container. Personally, the methods I prefer are physical barriers. Unfortunately, a study from RHS says that those kind of barriers, aren't totally effective. But I thought they were worth a mention since they are the cheapest solution, and I still use those with some success. The first barrier is eggshells. I wash and crush my eggshells and I use them to cover the surface of my seedlings tray. The sharp surface should be unliked by slugs to cross, but sometimes they cross it anyway. A similar method is to use wool pellet. This is wool from sheep and is available in garden center. It's natural and it creates a sort of rough surface. Wool pellet will absorb slugs' slime and it makes it uncomfortable to cross, but it also absorbs water, so it's good to use as a mulching, as a water retenant to keep your soil humid. Then we have copper tape or also copper rings. Copper creates a small electroshock combined with slug slime, so they will naturally avoid the contact with it. The copper tape are adhesive and they can be attached around your pot or container, but I found out they cannot stick on the clay pots or vases. Copper rings instead can be placed directly on the soil around your plants to create a proper barrier. Shortly, I'll try to keep the slugs and snail situation under control by keeping my garden rubbish-free, checking now and then my plants during the night for slugs hunting, using physical barriers that may disturb slugs crossing, and then I'll keep an eye especially on young seedlings. I'll try to start them in a protective container rather than directly into the open soil. Those were my tips to cope with slugs and snails. I would like to try nematodes, which is a biological control, but because it's a little bit expensive at the moment as a method, I haven't yet. Anyway, I hope this suggestion can be useful to you, and thank you for watching. Please stay safe and keep growing.